Welcome back to another episode. So today I want to get started on helping you develop your first WordPress theme. And I thought about how am I going to present this video? Am I going to code out a theme from scratch and then walk you through the entire process? That would be a great way to demonstrate this process. But there's only one issue that I find with that, and that's that over time, the code can become obsolete, right? Because the WordPress coding standards will change, and some functions and classes and template tags and filters and hooks will change over time. So that would make this video potentially obsolete, within a year or two. So that was a concern of mine. So the other option is to introduce you to a starter theme that's well maintained. And that's the route I'm going to go because, learning how to develop themes, it's important that you utilize code that's current and that works, at the present point in time and in the future. So I'm going to introduce you to the starter theme that I recommend. Is designed and developed by the team at Automattic. It gives you the basic code and files you need in order to build your theme. You get to style it the way you want. You can customize the PHP code and make it really yours. And you can go to underscores.me and you can pull down the files from there. You give it the name, the slug, the author URI, description. You could sassify it, and then you generate the code. It'll download to your folder, you extract it, and install it onto your local server, and then you can start getting to work. You could also get it from GitHub, which is another location it's stored at. And it's the exact same, copy that you would get from underscores, except from here, you would have to run a find and replace, for every section that has it, underscore S and replace it with whatever your, theme name is. So they just give you an example here, but you would replace it with your theme name. And these are the files that you will get. All right, so now how does it look when you install it? Well, it's like I said, it's a very basic starter theme. So it gives you the PHP code you need, the file structure that you can use as a starting point, and it gives you a unstyled website. So now this is where you would get started and make it your own. You can make it something like what I'm doing here with this theme that I'm developing. It's this is one theme that I have that I customize and I sell it on my site. And this is a version that's a demo version on my local environment. So it has a bunch of different code that I'm using to determine how it's going to function and stuff. So, that's what you can do. You can turn this into something like this, or something even better, however you want to style your theme. All right, so now let me show you and walk you through the actual underscores theme. All right, so when I downloaded the version from GitHub, I got this master folder, _s-master, and it comes with the basic files and folder structure that you need. So let me expand everything here so I can walk you through. All right, I'm not going to expand everything, but just the basic main folders. All right, so this is the structure. So we'll start from the bottom. You get your Style.css file. This Style.css file gives you the starting point for your CSS, and it gives you the theme name. You would change it here, but if you downloaded it from underscores.me, it'll automatically have all this information configured, the way you chose to configure it from there. But since I got this from GitHub, I would have to change everything from here. So I would, change the name, author URI, author URI, theme, that's the theme URI, sorry. Then the description, version number, add the tags I want if I'm putting it on the WordPress repository. This has some licensing information, and it's closing out the comment block. You need this comment block in your theme because this will ensure that WordPress can identify the theme that you're using. It's required. The Style.css file is one of the required files for your theme. And then when you scroll down, it has another comment block here. So whenever you have this / asterisk, and then you have another, asterisk and /, everything in between those sections, that's a comment. You don't need to have the dashes. The dashes are there for presentation purposes as a way to identify this comment block, just in case your text editor doesn't have this type of syntax highlighting. I'm using the Atom.io text editor, which I highly recommend. It's free, open source, it's maintained and developed by the people at GitHub. All right, so you have this comment block. It gives you a sample structure. You can change this. You're not married to this. You can make it yours and change it around if you want. You get your normalized CSS section, which will be helpful, for you when you're, wanting to make sure that it works well in all browsers. So you have your Style.css file. And this is a very watered down file right now because it's meant for you to really, get in there, get your hands dirty and make it yours. Then when you start going up the files, let's go to the Index.php file. You're going to need this as well. So the Index.php file, this is the main template file. So what this is doing here, you have a comment block and then it ends the comment block there. You always have to have your opening PHP tag. That's important. Now it's using a special WordPress function, the get_header, parentheses, semicolon, then jumping out of PHP because we're going to jump into HTML. So what this is doing, it's calling in the header.php file, which is this file right here. So it's calling in this file. So you have, again, your opening PHP tag, and then you have a comment block here with descriptions. And that's why this is a really good starter theme. It's very well documented. So it's one reason why I recommend using this when you're developing your WordPress themes. So then it jumps out of PHP here with the closing, question mark, etc. And then it opens up your HTML doc type. So you need this in your header.php file in order to make sure it's properly set up. And then you have your HTML tag. This closes off in the footer.php file. So the starting tag here, HTML, closes off here in the footer.php file. So your index.php file calls in the header file, and then it goes in, it puts in the structure, the HTML structure, by putting in the div with an ID of primary, a class of content area, and then main section. This is obviously your main article. And then it jumps out of HTML back into PHP, goes into the WordPress loop, if have post, and then it has another conditional here. This is an if conditional. Then it jumps into another nested if conditional. If is home and is not front page. So it's, doing this, is running this if conditional here. Then it jumps out to header, your HTML tags, your header HTML tags, and then your H1 tag right there. So this is only going to apply if it's home and is not the front page. So what does that mean? Well, your WordPress theme can have, two styles for the home page. It could be a blog type homepage, or it can be a static homepage and where you have a specific page for your blog post, to display your excerpts of your various blog posts and then with links to the actual articles themselves. So there's two ways to do that. So that's why we have this if conditional here. If it's home and it's not the front page, then you'll display it in that manner. So going further down, we'll jump back into PHP. We're going to end the if statement there. And then it's while have post, the post. So we're back into the loop. So see what we did here? We started an if conditional, if it have post, then we do this nested if, and then we continue starting the actual loop itself, while have post, the post. So this is checking to see if it have posts, then it'll do this, and then this is the actual loop right here, while have post, the post. So this is a while loop, and it's a PHP based while loop, and it just goes through the loop to identify if it has post. And then it goes to get template part, which is a special WordPress function. And then template parts, it's identifying the location. So in this section here, you see we have a string in here because you have the opening and closing single quotation marks. It's going to look into this folder right over here for this file, Content.php. All right. That's what it's doing. And then it's getting the post format if selected. Then it ends the while, and then it has the post navigation. So this is going to be at the bottom of your article where you can navigate from post to post. And then else, if there are no articles or blog posts, get template part, and then template parts content. So now you're pulling in the content, but it's not that same content file. You're now pulling in the content none file. So this will display if there are no articles currently, for your blog. So this conditional right here is calling in for your blog page and going through the articles to see what articles are available, and if none, then it's going to display the Content-None.php file, which is located here in your template parts folder. And then you go down and then you end the if. So this right here is ending the if have post part right here. And then we close off the main tag, HTML tag, and then we close off the div tag from the top. So let me make this a little bit smaller for a second, just to see if I can show you all in one view. So again, you have your get header, your HTML, your if have post, conditional, and then this is what it'll do if it's the home page, meaning the blog page, and it's not the front page. It'll output this information here, and then while have post to post, gets the template part content, and while post navigation, else content none. Close off the HTML tags, and then down here, now I'm going to enlarge this again. We are going to get the sidebar, which would be, typically on your right, which is the standard format. You get the sidebar, and then you get the footer. So now when you style this out, you would obviously, put divs around this, or however you want to set that up, and then also your get footer. So you're getting the sidebar, which is right here, Sidebar.php, and then this is doing another if conditional statement. If it says is active sidebar, but when you have the exclamation point, that means it's negating this. So if it's not active, sidebar 1, because we have that inside our Functions.php file. I'll show you that in a second. If it's not active, return means just nothing's going to be displayed. But if it is active, then you're going to get this. So aside, ID, secondary, class, widget, well, complementary. Then you jump into PHP, dynamic sidebar, sidebar-1, and then you close off the HTML tag. And then, as I was showing you before, this is the footer file, Footer.php. So you're closing off the div here. So they give you the basic structure, right? So in your header file, let's just jump back to that for a second. You have your doc type, HTML, head, meta tags in your header.php file, which is what you need. And then you have this function here, wp_head function. This is required so that way other plugins and things can hook into the head section of your theme and your website. Then you jump into the body, then you get the body class. This is a special PHP function, WordPress function, designed in PHP obviously. And then you jump into HTML, and then this is the skip link focus for screen readers. You escape_HTML_E, and that's for sanitation purposes. Skip to content, and then this is good for screen readers where a person can tap through and go to the main content area. And then you have the header section right here, and with the ID and the class and the role, and then inside you have the branding section. So this is another if conditional. So we jump into PHP. If is front page and is home, h1 class site title, then jump into the PHP echo escape_URL home URL / and then relation is home, and then PHP blog info name, and then you close off the anchor tag, and then you close off the h1 tag. Else, if it's something other than the front page or the is home page, which is either the static front page or a blog homepage type of deal, if it's something different, it'll make the title into a paragraph tag. Now this is important for SEO because you want your H1, to be the title of that article, because that gives it more importance and priority, and it's better for the search engines. So if it's an actual article and not your blog page where it has multiple articles on it, then it'll output this, a paragraph tag with the class site title. So when you're designing, you're going to be focusing on this right here, this class, to make the site title for the P and the H1 site title exactly the same, styled the same. So that way it's consistent. Then you go into your HTML anchor element with the href, and this gets the home URL. And again, it goes through that, site goes through that and closes off the paragraph tag. And then it jumps back into PHP and finalizes the end diff from right here. And then for the description, it gets the blog info. So we're creating the variable here. This is a variable. Assign the value of get_blog info function, description display. And then we're jumping into an if statement. If the variable description or is customized preview, because now we also have the customizer to work with. So it's doing an if conditional check for the variable if it's set or if it's in the customized preview. Then you're going to jump out of PHP by finalizing the code that way, and you're going to put in the P class. This is the paragraph tag with the class attribute of site description. So this is what you'll be targeting when you're styling your site description. And then you jump back into PHP, you echo out the description variable, and then you close off PHP tags and close off the paragraph tags. Then you jump back into PHP, you end the if conditional check there. And then you close off the div tag from the site branding section. So as you see, it's commented. I like that. It's good to comment your code, so that way you leave yourself breadcrumbs, so that way when you're changing things up, today, tomorrow, a week from now, a month from now, you can identify where things are. And then it jumps into your nav section. So this is an HTML tag, a nav, ID, site navigation, class, main navigation, role navigation. You have your button tag there, class menu toggle. Now you can change all this stuff up depending on how advanced you are in terms of your development. But this is the basic structure it gives you. And then from here, you're jumping into PHP. Again, this is for sanitization and security purposes, your primary menu, and then the text domain. This text domain should be the text domain for your entire theme itself. So you're going to see this a lot, and you'll change this to whatever that your text domain is. Close off the button tag. And then you get the wp_nav_menu function, which is how WordPress works with menus. And then you have an array with the theme location of menu 1, and then a menu ID, and then primary menu. Then you jump out of that, close off your nav tag, and close off your header tag from the top. And then this is that div tag that you'll see closed over here in your Footer.php file. So you see how this is. It's all modular, and it works together. So you have your header.php file. You could just go to town, work on this file right here, make it look exactly how you want. Done. Perfect. One file, it's only 49 lines of code with spaces in between some of the lines. So it's a lot easier to work with, right? Then you get your Footer.php file, and you'll work with the code here to output the way you want it to do. So you can customize this, change it around. So you have your closing div tag there. Then you have your footer tag right here, closes here, and this closes the div from the top of the header.php file. So you see this div right here, ID equals page. It closes right here. That's what this hashtag or # is. This is the ID tag, and then page. If you see a period, that means it's class for the CSS, ID and class. All right, so this closes off that tag right there. And then you customize the footer how you want to look, right? So the styling part, this is the main, this is the ID it's giving you to work with, and then the class site-footer, and then you just change it around in your style.css file, however you want that to display. And then it has the div class site info, the anchor tag, and then you have your you're echoing out the escape _URL and double underscore there, and then you're jumping in and you're putting in the link right there. So this would be, potentially You could take this out if you don't want to display that it's probably powered by WordPress, or you can leave it there if you want to display it. And then you go through that. This is again the text domain. Then you open up PHP again, and then escape_HTML, double underscore there, and that's the probably powered by. So you see it has that text there, and then text domain. So on the actual site, let's go down. You see it right here, probably powered by WordPress theme underscore by Automattic, right? So you change that around, and it'll change. So if you want to change that to say Pixelweb, you do that, refresh the browser, and now it's changed to Pixelweb. Sorry, now it changes to Pixelweb. All right, but that's just for the displaying of it. Obviously, if you click on it, it goes somewhere else, because you would have to change this link right here to your URL. All right, so that's what you would do. You just right here put the www.pixelweb.com or whatever your site URL is. Then it closes off the div tag there, closes off the footer tag, and again, as I mentioned, this div tag is from the header.php file. All right, so and then this is a sidebar file. So that's what this is doing here. This is the main template file. You have your get header, your WordPress loop here, your main content area, gets a single post title there, go into the loop, gets the content from Content.php right here. And if you go through this and take a look at the code here, you have your HTML tags, you have your PHP post underscore class function there that's especially for WordPress. You have your header section for that article. Now don't get confused between this header section and the header here, because they're different. With HTML5, you can have separate header and footer sections of articles and pages themselves. So this is for the actual header of the article. So it's doing the if is single, checking for the title, if it's an H1, if it's going to output an H1, or if it's going to output an H2. All right, so it's doing running the if, else, and if. There's the if conditional, as I mentioned, and then you go to the other if conditional, post, get post type, entry meta, posted on. So this posted on is inside your inks folder, which is right here. All right, so this is the posted on function. So it gives you the time when it was posted, and it gets the modified time if it's, if get the time, this is a special PHP string there, and it's not get the modified time, and then it outputs the information, and then it escapes the information. So this is a variable. So it's going through here. Posted on printf, posted on, post date, that's the text domain. And then this is the permalinks. This is the byline variable by the author. And then what this does here is jumping in and out. I mean, it's actually staying in PHP and it's just outputting it as a string there. Escapes URL, get the author post URL. So this is a special WordPress function. So it gets your post URL for all the posts that you have printed out. Get the author meta, escape HTML, get the author. And then it outputs everything down here. And then it ends the if from the top. And then this is the entry footer. So if you go to here, entry content, the content, this is to display all the content for that article. This is the link pages. But the entry footer here, this is a special function that will bring in or your footer information for that particular article. So it gets the post, get post type, then it creates a variable here with the $ categories underscore list, get the category list, escape underscore HTML underscore, and then it outputs it in this manner. And then from there, it jumps into another nested if statement. And then you have your categories list variable, and if it's a categorized blog, and then printf, and then it prints out the information posted in, then closes off that span, and then brings that out. So how does that look? All right, so if we go back here, and we see posted in, uncategorized, and then you could edit it. So this uncategorized is the category that it's, being in right now, and this code is being generated, by this strip right here, because this is the entry footer code. And then it would be the same for the tags, because you have categories for your site and you also have tags. Two ways to, show your content for your site, to categorize it and tag it. And then it runs through creates a tags variable, get the tag list, does that. If tags list, then it prints it out. So this is an if conditional, checking to see if it's tagged, like if you have multiple tags. So if there are tags, then it'll print them out and format them. All right, so then it jumps into if exclamation point, so this negates it, is not single and is not post password required, comments open and comments are open, or get comments number. Then, so what this is doing now is if the password's not required and if it's not, a single page, it'll pull up the comment section. So it'll display that, leave a comment, and then it pulls that up. And the Comments.php file is right here. And this is a very large file. And again, it has a if conditional in the top. If a password is required, it just returns and it won't display anything because you'll have to log in. And then once you're logged in, or if it's not required, then you would see your comments section displayed. And there's a lot of code here, so you should definitely spend some time going through this. So now we're about 20 some odd, maybe even 30 minutes into the video here, and you're probably saying, well, wait, where can I find references to all this code? Great question. I'm going to show you where you can get that now. And the place you would go is, I'm going to go back to my browser, and I pulled up this page here. It's the developer.wordpress.org, and then /reference. That's the URL. So this is the code reference. So if there's code that you're not familiar with, it's all here. This is where you can find information about the functions, the classes, methods, and the hooks. And then you could even filter it based on functions, hooks, classes, and methods. And then this displays all the special code that you would need for WordPress. So let's take one for example here. Let's say we're going to take this one right here. Get comments number. We can put it right here and press return, and then we get everything that's featured for that. Get comments number function, retrieve the amount of comments a post has, and then this is and it shows you the location, right? So the source is the wp-includes /comment-template-Page.php on line 840. This is in the core of WordPress. So the core of WordPress is where all the classes, hooks, functions, and methods are stored, and then your theme is utilizing those specific pieces of code. So you would definitely want to reference this developer resources section as much as you can. And then they also have a section for themes, plugins, and the REST API. But this code reference is going to be invaluable. You're going to definitely need that moving forward. All right, so going down, you get the title, get comment pages count, and further down, further down, further down. There's a lot of code here to review, and you may not even touch this too much except for identifying the locations you would have to style. All right, so now we jump back into here, and then there's the edit link, right? So you saw on the page you had this edit link here. You would style it so it's separate from the categorized list, obviously. That edit link is displayed from here. And then it does the end if, and then it jumps into the categorized blog section. So this is the, to check if it's your blog is categorized. And then it outputs the code for that. So it's another if statement. So we have the function, an if statement, if it's false, identical. So there's the assignment operator, which is the single equal sign, which is just assigning a value to a variable or to a, to a condition. There's the equal, which is the double equal sign. So that means if two things are equal, but they may not be exactly the same. That's where the triple equal sign comes in. And this is PHP code here. So that's why you need to get familiar with that, because you don't want to accidentally assign a value when you mean to check for equality or exact equality. So if false is exactly, then you are putting this information. Create an array of all the categories that are attached to post, and then you're running through this variable here, get categories or array. So you're creating the array right there. Fields, hide field, IDs, 1, the number 2. All right. And then you jump out of it here, set a transient. And then if all the cool cats are greater than 1, this blog has more than 1 category. So it's checking to see if it has more than 1 category. And then else return false. Then you're flushing out the transients used by the categorized blog. So you're you're creating a function, this underscore s underscore category underscore transient underscore flusher. And then if defined, doing autosave and doing autosave, return. And then you're deleting the transient. And then you have your add action here. Edit category, save post. All right, so that takes you through the Template-Tags file. And we did the comments, and we did the sidebar. And then we did here. So you see, you would be focusing on styling the content area that's being called in by the index or the content none. All right, so now let's move on to another file. Another very important file that you need to get familiar with in theme development is your Functions.php file. This is pretty much one of the other third required files you need for your WordPress theme. So you open up the PHP tag at the top, then you're creating an if conditional statement. If function does not exist, because again, exclamation point means does not, then you're creating your setup function. And then from here, you can read the documentation, but you're setting up the function. You have your opening curly brace there, and then all the code in here is for your setup function. We're loading the theme text domain, and then the text domain there, get template directory in the languages folder. So let me just close this up here, close that up. So we have our languages folder here. So it's getting the text domain, loading it. And then you're adding theme support, and you're gonna do this a lot. You're gonna add theme support for certain pieces of functionality, and you're doing automatic feed links for this for the RSS feed. And then you're letting WordPress manage the document title. So add theme support for the title tag. And then you're adding theme support for post thumbnails. That is for the featured images in the post thumbnail and the post thumbnails. And this is where you can get, again, more information on that right there. And then you're creating a menu location. Remember in the header.php file? This menu location, theme location, menu-1, menu ID, primary menu. So that is here. So you're creating the theme location, menu-1, and then you're putting your primary location with your text domain. And then you're putting in theme support for HTML5 for these specific pieces of HTML5 markup. And then theme support for the custom background. You're applying the filters. And then you have another array here, default color, default image. You can change this around. And then you're adding theme support for customized selective refresh for the widgets. This is, again, for your customized section. Then you're ending if, then you're adding action after setup theme. Then that's, I'm setting up your theme. That's the function up here, right there. All right, so now we move further down, and then you're setting your content width. This means that if you're embedding content from another site, it will not extend past this number here. So this is in pixels. So you'll determine, what's the right pixel density for you, for your theme, and then you can pixel size, and then you'll just adjust that number here. If it's 640 or maybe 720 or whatever your theme dimensions are going to be. Then you add action after setup theme, and then calling in that function and giving a priority of 0. All right. Now this is the widget area that it's in your sidebar. Remember I mentioned here, sidebar-1, dynamic sidebar. This is where that is here. So let's take a look at this code for a second. This is for a sidebar. Your sidebars are, like I mentioned before, often on the side of your page, an article, right? But you could also have other sections, like maybe down below, underneath the content. So think about this more like widgetized locations, more so than just sidebars. The name is a little bit off, right? Because this is going back from when WordPress first started, when it was simply just a blogging platform, but now it's a whole lot more. So in this section, you can create as many sidebar or widgetized areas as you want. You have this function here, widgets in it, And then in there, you're registering a sidebar. So this is register underscore sidebar array. You give it a name, sidebar underscore is ID, sidebar description, add widgets here. Before, this is for the, the HTML for the actual backend for the widgetized area. And then before title, widget title, h2 tags. Then you close off there. If you want to add more widgets, you can do that. So what you could do is take that like that, copy it, and just start creating your widgetized area. Just copy it and just change it around. You want to change the title of it. Obviously, you want to change the ID from sidebar -1 to maybe -2, and then you would just put in could leave everything else here the same, but you would change up your name, your ID, and the description. All right. Like if this is going to be like a footer widget, or if it's going to be like a below content widget, this is what you would copy and replicate. And then you're adding the action. You just need to do this one time for this. And then this is for the enqueuing of scripts and styles. All right, so WP enqueue style, you're getting your style sheet, right? So let's go back to the code reference, put that here, and it gives you a full explanation of this specific function. That's what's good about using the code reference. You get more details of how it works. And so you're giving it your name, and then you're getting the style sheet underscore URI for your style sheet, which is the Style.css file right there. And then this is for the scripts. We're getting the navigation.js, which is located here in the JS folder. And this means it's being displayed at the bottom of your document object model of your website and theme. And then you're doing another WP enqueue script for the skip link focus, which is also located there in the JS folder. And the code is being displayed in the bottom of the document object model, which is important so it doesn't cause render blocking scripts, which is a page load time issue for you to consider. Then it's running an if conditional statement. If is singular and comments open and get option thread comments, WP enqueue script, comments reply. And then you close off that if, then you close it off the function right there, add action, and then WP enqueue scripts, and then the name of your function. And then now we're going into the required section. So we're requiring certain files for this one. And you can change this around. You can delete these if you want, customize them how you want. So we're implementing the custom header feature, custom template tags, and other sections. So this Functions.php file is modular as well. You're calling in everything that's inside this inc folder right here. Custom-Header.php, Customize.php, Extras, Jetpack, Template Tags, etc. So you have that there. Look how it's going. It's requiring this file that's located in that folder. So get template directory. You can take that, go to the code reference, go back to the reference, put it right there, and then you see it right there. All right, so now let's go into some other pages. Let's close out the functions file, content. Let's close out the index file and the CSS file. All right, so now let's move on to the page. This is for like a static page, right? It's a basic static page layout. You have, again, your PHP opening tag, and then you have your get header function, and then you're jumping into HTML, jumping into the loop, get template parts, content page. So now this is calling in the template part right here, content page. And this is the information that's being generated for the page content itself. So you get your article, right there, the header for that article, the div for the entry content, the content function, and then your link pages, and then you have your edit post link, and again it's getting in the entry footer class for the footer section of the article itself, and then you're ending the if and ending the article tag there, and then you jump out of that. This one has the comments section. Typically you won't find comments on a page, so I tend to remove this section here. You can remove it, and then it's not going to display comments on your pages, which typically you wouldn't want to have. Then it ends the while, jumps out, HTML tags, then it gets the sidebar, and you get the footer. So that's how that works. So let's jump into another page. Now this is for your 404.php page. This is a customized page for displaying error pages that content wasn't found, if a person's searching for a URL that doesn't exist or whatever. So this displays that section here. So you can customize this the way you see fit and take a look at the code. See, as you can see, this one is a full width one, or theoretically a full width, because it only has one section, the main, and no sidebar. and it's only calling in the footer at the bottom. So you see there's no sidebar being called in. So now let's move on to another page. Let's go to the Archive.php. So this is calling and displaying all archive pages, and it's following the same structure, right? So you have your get header, your HTML, the loop, starting the loop over here, getting the template parts, content, navigation, get template part, content none, because it's the else if it doesn't have any, and then it's outputting the sidebar and the footer. So we're seeing the theme here, how it's going and being built together. As we move forward, you do need a screenshot. Right now it's just a blank PNG file, so you take a screenshot of your theme itself. We have a search.php file. This is for when a person's searching on your site. This is the code that will be used to generate that. And this is what you can customize for this area. Again, you have your loop, content search. Look at that for a second. And this is how it looks there. This is the content it'll pull in for the search page. So I think we covered the main files in the main root section. So we have the style, single, sidebar, search, page. We went through that, index, header, functions, footer, comments, archive. And then we went over the content, content search, content page, content none, template parts. These are your Sass files. So Sass is a very advanced version of developing websites because it's a preprocessor for CSS. It makes creating your CSS file a lot easier and more modular. So again, you'd separate it by elements, forms, layout, media, mixins, modules, navigation, etc. I'm not going to go over all these because that's a more advanced tutorial. And they also have the layouts folder with the CSS for the layouts. Now you can use this or not, depending on how you want to develop your theme. And then this is the languages folder. And then this is your JS folder. So this is the customized.js folder. This works in conjunction with your customizer.php file, which is located in the ink folder. So I want to jump into that. Let me jump into the customizer real quick. So you would want to play around with this, and this customizer.php file is meant for you to change around. And my file is several hundred lines long because I add very custom functionality to the back end of my site and to enhance it. But this is the basic structure. Customize, register, and then you go into this code here. And again, look this up on the code reference so you can get a walkthrough. And then you're creating the function down here to include a script, customizer.js, which is right here in the JS folder. And as you see, always find the path. So the get template directory URI, and then you're appending it with the path. So that's that file. Close this up, close this up. So now let's go to custom header. If you want to have a custom header, like display a big header towards the top, you can work around with this. If you don't, then you can comment out or delete the line in this file right here in your functions.php file. You can delete it or comment it out, but you would work with this code. So you're creating your own custom header setup. And then this is the add theme support, custom header, apply filters, and then your custom header args, and then you're doing the array, and then the default image, default text color. You can change this around. This is black. The width, you can change that around if you want. Height, change that around if you want. You can have flex height, flex width, etc. You can set that to true or false. Then the callback right there. And then add action after setup theme right there. And then you have your if conditional statement down here. If function doesn't exist, header style, and then you're creating your header style function right here, header text color, get header text color, and then if get theme support custom header default text color is exactly identical to header text color, return. If not, then it's gonna output this right here. If we get this far, we have custom styles. Let's do this. Then this is the custom styles for that. So that's the custom header. And now let's go to our extras file. This is for your body classes. It's for if there's multi-author or group blog. And then if isn't singular classes, hfeed, returns classes, add filter, body class is right there. And then this for the ping back. Here's support for the Jetpack plugin for infinite scroll. And then I think we're done with this section. All right, so we covered the custom header, customizer, extra, .php, the Jetpack, template tags. This one we can leave in if you want. Global theme colors. This file is centrally included with the WP content must use plugins for compatibility. If you want to leave that in, you can. Then we covered this is the JS file that goes with your customized.php file. And this is the navigation. You can work with this. This gives you, if we look at right here, just to show you, I'm going to inspect this so I can get it to be responsive. All right, so as you scroll, this is your navigation right here. Obviously, you would style it different. After a certain width, it goes into a button. So that's the basic, very basic JavaScript that's doing that, right? So you can change this around. You can use this if you want. You can use something totally different. Up to you. This is JavaScript here. So look at that. And there's the skip link focus JavaScript file. So you can just look at it, but you may not even play around with this too much. And so we covered everything in the underscores master file. This is, a very long walkthrough of the underscores starter theme. I definitely recommend that you use this if you're starting off building your custom themes, because it gives you the basic files and folder structure you will need. And it's very well commented. You will see the comment blocks. And then if you see something you're not familiar with, you just copy that, right? So let's go back here, and we're going to copy something, WP nav menu. You want to get more information on that. You're going to go to the code reference section, and you'll put it in. It'll look for it, and then it'll get the WP nav menu function, and then this is the hook. Sometimes there's hooks and functions, so you're going to want to learn more about that. And this will give you, all the information about that specific function or hook, and it'll tell you where it's located. Now, for theme development, I also recommend that you take a look at this section here. So developer.wordpress.org, develop themes. This is the theme handbook, and this goes through the exact structure you will need, all the information you need to develop your themes. So definitely take a look at that. That's why I recommend the starter theme, because it gives you a way to learn while doing. You get to add your styles, your functionality, things of that nature, all while learning. And it's relevant today, and it'll be relevant tomorrow. So definitely, take a look at underscores. You can find it at underscores.me right here, or you can get it from GitHub. And then you download it, to your computer, install it into your local WordPress installation on your local server, and then you can start playing around with it and really make it look like something different, something completely, unique to you and how you want it. So when I inspect this one here, you see, my theme adds a lot of, it looks completely different from what the standard installation of the underscores theme would look like, right? So because I added my custom code to it. And you could make something totally different, to suit your needs. But it all starts off with the starter theme. And then you install it and you have fun making your own website. And that's it. All right, so in the next episode, I'll show you, what starter front-end frameworks you could use. And there's a bunch of them. And then you can use them to work in collaboration with underscores, or you could add your own styling, to suit your needs, your own HTML, your own CSS, your own JavaScript, or you can use the front-end frameworks like Bootstrap, or you can use something like Foundation, or you can use something like the Skeleton front-end framework. And you really can do a lot of things and marry them together to make them suit your needs. And then you have your own website. So just get familiar with it, download it, navigate the, the files to see what's there. You can, add new files, to the site, to your theme, and then, customize it in a really, unique way, something that's different from what's out there. All right, so this was a walkthrough of the underscores starter theme, just to help you get started developing your next theme. So hopefully you found it helpful. It was a very long video, and for the reason why I made it this long is because I wanted to give you a pretty thorough walkthrough. I could have gone further, but this would have ended up being a 5-hour video. Hopefully you found it helpful. If you did, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, because I'll be creating more videos on how to develop WordPress themes. I'll even do another series on how to develop WordPress plugins, and I'll give you some tips and tricks to speed up your development time, because guys, time is money. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed it. Give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time. Take care.